Here in America, turkey is the classic Thanksgiving meal. And if you haven't smoked yours yet, you are completely missing out. So today, I'm going to teach you how to smoke a turkey. When it comes to Thanksgiving, it's so often that we put the oven to use to smoke the bird for our Thanksgiving meals. But I'm telling you, in the last couple of years, we've learned that smoking a turkey takes Thanksgiving to a whole nother level. And if you haven't done it yet, what I want you to do is give this a try. Even maybe give it a practice try before Thanksgiving, before you invite everybody over. But this is a delicious way to get a bird that everybody's going to love. One of the secrets to making sure that you have one of the juiciest birds on the block is to start your turkey with a brine the day before you plan on cooking it. Now, what is a brine? A brine is a salt solution that you're going to soak your turkey in for about 24 hours to help it actually absorb some extra liquid and absorb a little bit of salt and a few other flavorful ingredients to help that bird retain more moisture during the cook. There's a lot of science behind this, and we could go into that, but right now, just know if you're not brining your turkey, you're missing out on such moist meat and incredible leftovers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put together a brine for this bird that we're going to put it in for 24 hours before we even think about putting this on the smoker. Now, our brine starts with a gallon of water. This is just tap water. We got it right out of the sink, and it's a gallon of tap water, about a cup of light brown sugar, a cup of kosher salt. Then we have a half cup of honey. Now you can use any honey that you want. I've heard all kinds of things about different types of honey imparting great flavor. You can use something that's local to you, but honey's going to add some great sweetness along with that brown sugar. We also have about 5 cloves of garlic that are rough chopped. It's going to give some incredible savory notes. And then we have 1 large onion that's just been given a rough chop as well. All these savory ingredients are going to add some real depth of flavor to this bird. We also have 4 bay leaves. These bay leaves are just dried bay leaves that you would get at the market, and you can get them in the spice aisle. Sometimes they're even found in the bulk spice aisle. There's a tip for you. If you go look at the bulk where you can actually load up your own little bags of spices, you can find those a lot cheaper than other places. We also have a tablespoon of black peppercorns, and they're whole peppercorns. They haven't been cracked. They're just black. We're going to put them right in there. And then also we have a couple of tablespoons, 3 tablespoons to be exact, of Cajun seasoning. Now, you can use whatever Cajun seasoning you would like. We're going to put ours in the recipe down below. You could use Emerald's Essence. You could use your favorite. I've heard of a bunch of different brands, but you can make up one really easily down below. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to put all of this together on the stovetop, and we're going to incorporate all of this together and get these sugars and these salts to dissolve in our liquid. And then we're going to go ahead and add a whole gallon of ice water to cool it down and make sure that we have a liquid that's cool that will keep our bird at a safe temperature as it's soaking overnight. We have our brine mixture that's gone to a boil, and then we've actually reduced it back down. All we wanted to do was to make sure everything dissolved and it really pulled together. And you can see on the inside here, it's a really, really dark liquid. And we want to get this chilled so we can get the bird inside, because we don't want the bird to get into that danger zone of above 40 degrees where bacteria can start to grow. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ice cold gallon of water, a lot of ice and freezing cold water, and we're going to add it to this mixture because we know we're going to need all this to cover that turkey. So we're going to go ahead and add this to the mixture, cool it off, and then we can get this in the fridge to cool down so we can get that bird added and get started on brining this turkey. We've had our brine in the refrigerator overnight, and so now it's come down to below 40 degrees, which is exactly where we want it to be before we put this turkey in. Now, the turkey has been thawed, and all we have left to do is to take the turkey, put it in the brine, and then keep it cold in the refrigerator or in maybe even a cooler with some ice around it for up to 24 to 48 hours. Up to 48 hours, you'll even have a juicier, more moist turkey than you will even at 24 hours. But all you have to do is take your turkey, lower it down inside, and then you're going to take this, put it in the fridge, and wait for 24 to 48 hours. You're good to go. We've had the turkey brining for 48 hours now, and it has taken in all of the additional liquid that it can as it's soaking in that salt solution and it's letting out some of that other moisture that's in there. But we're going to need to go ahead and get this out of the brine, and you can notice that it's taken on some of the color that it's had from that brine. All we need to do is make sure that the cavity isn't holding a bunch of water. And once that's drained, then we're going to go ahead and put this on our cutting board. And then we're going to go ahead and get some additional flavor on the inside. Now, getting some flavor on the inside, you're saying, didn't we already do that with the brine? Well, yeah, we did, but we want to get some additional flavor on the inside. And that additional flavor we're going to put on the inside is going to be a little bit of an injection. So, there we go. Bring it over to the cutting board. And there's our turkey. So, now we want to go ahead and first things first, we want to go ahead and get the outside patted dry. So I'm just going to use some paper towel that we have here, and I'm going to go ahead and pat the outside dry so that we don't end up with rubbery skin when we cook this bird. Now that the outside of the bird is dry, we're going to go ahead and transfer it over to the roasting pan that we're going to cook this in today, because we could put this directly on the grill, but I really want to save those drippings to make gravy for the mashed potatoes and for the turkey. So in that case, we're going to smoke it, but we're going to smoke it in a roasting pan to make sure we save those drippings. So go ahead and transfer this over. Get that all lined up. Get this out of the way. All right, and the next step is when I like to add some aromatics to the bird. And so we have this giant open cavity on the inside that is just screaming for something to go inside of it while we're cooking it. And it adds some extra flavor. It also adds some extra mass so things cook a little bit more evenly. But all we have here is we have some onion, we have some apple, and we have some celery. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're going to stick this inside the cavity to make sure that we have some aromatics on the inside to even out the cooking on this bird. So the next step is to make sure that we don't have any pieces on the bird that are going to get overdone. And so a lot of times it's going to be the wing tips and some places like that. So if you have your bird and your wing tips are stuck up like this, one of the easy ways to do is just to tuck them behind. You can just take this, lift it up, and tuck this right behind the turkey, and that'll lay back there and make sure that that's not going to get overdone. You can do that on both sides. Just a simple way, making sure your wing tips don't get scorched during the process. In addition to the wing tips going underneath the bird, one of the things that we also do is a lot of times we'll tie up the legs and we'll make it so that the legs stay together. Well, on this bird in particular, what they've done is they've actually made us a flap right here that we can just tuck these legs underneath, and that will hold those legs for us. Sometimes they'll come pre-trussed with some plastic that's actually already trussed around the legs, and you can leave that in play. But the idea is we just want this to be able to stay tight and close. That way it cooks nice and evenly. Now, the next step that we have is we want to go ahead and make sure we've maximized the flavor inside this turkey. And one of the ways we can make it even more flavorful is to inject the meat of this bird to make sure that we've added as much flavor as we can. Some of my favorite flavors are melted butter and a little bit of hot sauce. Now, I'm partial to Cholula myself, love Cholula hot sauce. And then we're going to have the carrier just be a little bit of chicken stock. So chicken stock, some melted butter, and a little bit of hot sauce. We're going to mix that together. I'm going to stick it in my, my trusty injector here, and then we're just going to inject the breast, the thigh, maybe the leg in a few places. Then we're going to put a little rub on the outside. So the whole thing we want to do here is just get a little bit of flavor inside the breast. And notice how that puffs up when we do this. See how that puffs up from adding that? It just takes it and puffs that up, which is what we're looking for. And what that's going to do is add some extra liquid, give us a little thermal buffer, as well as some extra flavor. It's going to be delicious. Now, I put 3 points in the breast, maybe a couple here in the legs. Notice how that puffs up when we do that? Look at that. Now that we've injected the bird, you might have a little bit of residue left down the outside, which is taking it from a dry bird to a little bit more wet or moist bird. I just take a little paper towel, do the same thing, just clean up where we were. Clean up those insertion points. Make sure that we're going to have the ability for that skin to crisp up, because I don't know about you, but one of the things I love about Thanksgiving is having some turkey, eating that skin when it's nice and crispy on the outside. So it makes it so good. So we need to make sure that we have flavored the outside of the bird. In order to do that, we like to use 2 stages of rub on the outside. The first is kind of a combination of garlic powder, onion powder, some poultry seasoning, and some salt as our base layer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix those together, and we're just going to put it on the outside pretty liberally, because this is a 12-pound bird. It can take a good amount of seasoning. Now, in order to get the seasoning to stick, one of the things we want to do is just use a little cooking spray. This is an olive oil cooking spray that we picked up at the supermarket. And all you need to do is just liberally spray the outside to make sure that it's a moist surface, but it's the right kind of moist surface. It's not water, it's not just turkey juice, it's actually something that when it gets hot will help crisp the skin. So that's where we're going to use this cooking spray to put it on the outside. So we said 2 stages of rub. The first one is the seasoning blend of the salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and the salt, garlic, onion, and the poultry seasoning. And the second stage is what we're going to use, just our sweet and spicy barbecue rub. And this isn't a barbecue turkey. This is still a smoked turkey, but we want a few of those notes of the barbecue flavor, just a little bit of a hint of that, since we're cooking this out on the grill. And it's not going to dramatically change the flavor of the drippings and the gravy. It'll give it a little tint of flavor, and people will say, how'd you get that flavor into it? The secret is it's that barbecue rub. Now that the turkey's seasoned up, it's ready to go out on the grill. Now we've got our grill set today at 300 degrees because we want to have a relatively high temperature. Now, for those of you who are thinking smoking, don't you usually smoke around 225, 250, 275? Yeah, we do, but when you're cooking a bird, you want to make sure that you get that crispy skin on the outside. Remember, this is going to be a shorter cook time. We're looking between 3 and 3.5 hours, most likely, on a 12-pound bird. And so at 300 degrees, that's really going to give us probably the best give and take of temperature and time to get crispy skin on the outside of this bird. So today we're cooking on our Traeger. It's the Renegade Pro model, and we're using a pellet grill to do this cook. Primarily because it's raining outside, it's windy outside, and I don't want to be outside all the time cooking this bird right now. So we're going to let the pellet grill do the work for us and maintain the fire. So we've set it to 300 degrees. All that's left to do now is to get this out on the smoker. It's been about 90 minutes and we're out here checking on the turkey, but what we're going to do is we're going to spray it down with a little bit of olive oil to be able to provide some moisture for the outside of the skin so it doesn't get too dark, but we still want that skin to get crispy. So we're going to go ahead and rotate it all the way around, and we're going to apply that olive oil to both sides just to make sure that we have that lubrication to keep it nice and moist and to be able to help that skin really, really crisp up. We're also going to take an external temperature probe and we're going to stick it down into the thickest part of the breast meat to be able to watch the internal temperature to make sure we know when this bird is going to be done. All right, the dark meat's reading about 175. Got the breast reading about the same place we want it to be. That's it, about 165 as well. That juice is running clear. That says it's about time to get this bird off. We're going to go ahead and take this off, tent it loosely, and go ahead and let it rest for a little bit. And this thing is almost ready to eat. Our turkey's come off the smoker and it's rested here on the counter for about 35 to 40 minutes. And the whole point of it resting is that the juices can reabsorb back into the turkey so that when we slice it, it's juicy and moist. And that's really what we have going here. So what I want you to do now is I want you to see what our bird's looking like. Now I took that foil off and the bird is still nice and hot. It's still warm and I can still feel heat coming off of it even though it's been sitting here for 35 or 40 minutes. So you don't have to worry about tenting your turkey or getting it done too early. If you're done a half hour, even an hour early, you can let it sit and you're gonna have some really, really great eats. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and carve this up so you can get a look at what we're looking at here with this turkey. And I'm gonna start with the breast. I'm just gonna carve a nice little slice here on the outside. Oh, look at that juice that's running through. Oh man, that looks good. It's moist. Oh, there's so much juice in there. And that skin on the outside, oh man, that's gonna be delicious. All right, I gotta save this because this is gonna be the one that I know the fam wants to try too. I'll make a little slice for me. Look at that, juice is running on it. Oh, look at the juice just falling off the end. Oh, that's gonna be good. That tastes like Thanksgiving here at our house. Man, that's good. If you haven't smoked a turkey, you're missing out. There's so much flavor on this bird. All right, let's take a little look at the dark meat as well. A little slice here on that leg. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, that's gonna be so good. A little bit for me. Tender, juicy. That's exactly what I want to see in a smoked turkey. Now, if you haven't tried this, I really want to encourage you to try this at home. You can make a turkey that is exceptional for your Thanksgiving. And I want to show you here, and look at all the drippings in this pan. If you can see all the drippings in this pan, amazing drippings to be able to make gravy with. So it's not like smoking a turkey leaves you out on all the things that are important on Thanksgiving, like gravy, mashed potatoes, delicious turkey. It takes you the opposite direction. It actually takes you to the point where you have incredible juicy drippings to be able to make that gravy with. It is next level. You've got to try it. So if you like this recipe, I hope you subscribe to the channel. We want to put out videos like this once or twice a week to help you win your weekend and become a better pitmaster. We want you to be a better outdoor cook. And this whole idea is that we can help you become better by showing you some of our recipes and sharing those with you. So this has been David from the Barbecue Lab, and I hope you join us next time right here on the channel.